guest is a native of East Haven and is now an ABC World News Now and MSNBC contributor. And he's the host of Up Late with Jason Paige on NBC Sports Radio and Sirius XM. We have Jason Paige with us.
Oh my gosh, it's Jason Paige. How are you?
Hello.
Hey, welcome to CT Style.
What's going on, gang?
Not too much. You're obviously doing big things now, but you started your roots right here in East Haven. Tell us a little bit about that.
I did. I actually got my start. Born and raised in East Haven. All my family is still either in East Haven, North Haven, or Brantford. And I actually got my start in East Haven High School, of all places, and on East Haven Public Access. Is a true story. 1994. My parents yanked me out of private school. I was going to Notre Dame in West Haven. My parents yanked me out of private school. They said we could send you to public school to get a bunch of C-minuses. So they decided to send me to public school. It was the greatest thing that ever happened to me because that year, East Haven High School started its high school television department. I fell in love with the genre, and I've been in broadcasting ever since.
That's great. What advice do you have for kids who want to do the TV thing?
Oh, there's so many different ways to do it these days between podcasting, YouTube. There's so many ways to become famous aside from being a Kardashian. I would tell people to pursue it as hard as they want, because as hard as you go after, I hate to sound like some corny Wheaties box or something, but as hard as you go after it, that's your chances of making it. I mean, I didn't go to college. I didn't have any college education. I just busted my butt and took jobs wherever people would give me opportunities, and now I'm, as I always like to say, I'm living the dream.
Talk about somebody who is also living the dream, but kind of messed up recently. Tom Brady. We're talking about Deflategate. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, listen, I thought from day one that the Wells report came out about a week ago that he would get anywhere from 2 to 4 games, that the Patriots would get whacked with the heaviest fine possible. $1 million is what they got. And I thought they'd lose draft picks. So I think they got what I thought they would get. I've talked to people, though, and I have people who call my show on a nightly basis who say everything from he shouldn't have been suspended at all to he should have been suspended for a year and the Patriots should have been stripped of their Super Bowl. So it's amazing to see the wide range of opinions out there from people when it comes to what they think should have happened to Tom Brady and the Patriots, because there's been a lot of opinions on it.
I mean, really, didn't they win by a big enough spread that the ball
like
might
38
not have
points
made
or
a
something?
huge factor?
Well, here's the thing. That was only one game. This investigation got a lot deeper than that one game and found that this was something they were doing throughout the season. They weren't only doing it against the Indianapolis Colts in the AFC Championship game. They were doing it elsewhere. And if they found a few instances where they were doing it, chances are they were doing it all the time. And the Patriots have a culture now of either pushing the line or crossing the line. And that's what cost him here. This punishment from the NFL is a cumulative effect. It's not just one thing. It's multiple things now that have added up to the point where the NFL says, you got to get whacked.
Talking about somebody who pushes the line a lot is A-Rod, and of course everything with steroids and him breaking all of these records. Break it down for our viewers who might have kids or grandkids at home. How do you think these athletes impact kids who are coming up through Little League and different sports? What advice do you have for parents?
It still amazes me how many parents call my shows these days and say, they're setting a terrible example for my son, or my little Johnny, or my little Joni. Those are the only names I can come up with. But at the end of the day, I think parents need to be steering their kids more towards real role models. I know everybody likes to think of Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter's a once-in-a-lifetime sort of creation in terms of being a role model, being that sort of figure, a David Wright for the Mets. You know, there are very few real professional sport role models out there for people to point their kids at. So my advice would be find a good Little League coach. Find a good basketball coach. I had a coach growing up, true story. I had a coach, his name was John Vallecca. He used to coach. I used to go to a youth basketball program every Tuesday and Thursday at Deer Run Elementary School when I was a little kid. When I was like 7, 8 years old, up until I was about 12. And this guy, he was a real role model. Wasn't some great basketball player, but he was somebody who taught me values. He was somebody who taught me respect. And he's a figure that even to this day, I could still remember him talking in my head. Derek Jeter. or any of these professional athletes. I think you have to steer your kids towards more real-time, more interactive role models, people they could actually interact with.
Sure. And Jason, we want to ask you, what do you think about a professional sports team coming to Connecticut? Any chance? Everyone's hearing maybe the Whalers are going to come back, but what's your opinion on it?
I tell you, I pray, and I'm not one that prays often, but if I were, I would be praying one day that they get the arena situation in Hartford figured out, a refurb there. I know everybody would like to think, hey, if we shine up this wonderful old venue called the XL Center, we'll one day get an NHL team. The NHL doesn't want to come and play in the old XL Center. They want something shiny and new. They got a great new ballpark going into Hartford. They're going to have a AA minor league baseball team. I won't even say the name of it because I'm insulted that they named a team what they named this team. But I think that, the NHL, if a new arena or an arena situation could be worked out in Hartford, they would be amenable to the idea of bringing back the Whalers. Winnipeg brought back the Jets. Quebec has talked about bringing back the Nordiques. You could one day see an NHL team in Hartford if the right pieces come together and they can get an arena situation figured out. Hockey really is the only thing that makes sense. I've always said the MLS would make sense as well because there is a huge soccer fan base in the state of Connecticut, but I don't know if Bob Kraft and the folks with the New England Revolution, the same team that owns the Patriots, would ever allow territorial-wise that territory to be given up to another team, because I think Rentschler Field in East Hartford would be a terrific venue for the MLS, but I don't know if that day will ever come. We'll have to see.
Well, Jason, the good news is that we have the Yard Goats, right? That's
And we said the name. We have them coming, right?
we did it.
Well, Jason, it was great having you here on CT Style. Maybe your friends back home will hear you and watch you. I think we
right.
lost him. Good timing with that one.
We might have lost him.
I might come in studio with you guys.
Great.
All right.
He's going to come in the studio.
Perfect.
Very good, Jason. Thanks so much.
We did hear that. Up next, we have transgender model